To today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today we're going to be talking about self-care. I have Beatrice Bailey on the show today, and she's going to give us some tips to take into New Year's on self-care. Get you something to drink and get you a snack and come on back. Well, B, thank you for being on the show today. I know that I always like to thank people for taking the time out of their day, especially on the weekends, because most people like myself like to relax on the weekend. So thank you
Give
for
me an
being.
opportunity to talk, and I love to talk.
Yeah, so that's good. I like to have guests on here who could talk, so that's good. Why don't we start off by you just kind of telling a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Well, my name is Beatrice Bailey, and I'm originally from Iowa. And yes, there are Black people that live in Iowa. Okay,
Yes.
preacher's daughter. So I was raised in the church. Very, very spiritual person. Um, I became in contact with Mental Health Matters when I wrote a book for my, as a result of lessons that I learned from my late husband. I took care of him, and I dealt with end of life issues that I'd never dealt with before. And during this time, in order for me to make it through the maze of taking care of someone who was dying and everything associated with it, I had to employ self-care. And that's how I really zeroed in on this subject.
Yeah. Well, B, you are also no stranger to being in front of the camera either. So talk a little bit about that. You was also a host of a show.
I did. And it's probably the most natural thing that I ever did. It was called, what was it called? It was called Uniquely B.
Yeah.
And it was on RCC TV, and it started out initially it started out covering my book and things associated with death. And then we realized that there are all kinds of issues associated with death and dying that don't actually have to deal with someone that is dying. We all
Yeah.
have different challenges, and death is just one of the challenges. So from there, I had a TV show for about 2.5 years, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, you get a chance to meet a lot of different
Yeah.
people and just, yeah, I really enjoy doing this for sure. So I can relate to it. Okay. So let's just talk about the definition of self-care. What is self-care?
Self-care is really what it says. It's taking care of yourself. And the unfortunate thing is that when people hear self-care, they associate with being selfish. What do you mean self-care? You're being self. No, no, no. You are taking care of yourself, and you need to take care of yourself. And so it's a it's a really deep subject that people really need to pay attention to.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So what do self-care means to you personally, B?
Well, self-care is really taking a pause as far as life is concerned, particularly during these COVID times. It's particularly important for you to look at self-care because all of us are in situations we've never been before. Some people are struggling something awful associated financially. I'm blessed not to
Yes.
be in that particular situation, but I do uh, am impacted by not being able to see family members and friends. I'm extremely close to my daughter that lives in Orange County. I haven't seen her since February. And
Wow. Wow.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
she lost her father to COVID. So she's
Okay.
like a ninja when it comes to whatever I'm doing. And she
Yeah.
said, Mom, I'd rather miss you than mourn you. So I
Yeah.
ended up with really a lot of time on my hands when before I used to go down almost every month to visit her
Yeah.
and her family. So it was an adjustment for me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think COVID has definitely embarked, just kind of, what word am I looking for? Just kind of penetrated our lives in a way that a lot of us didn't even see coming. And it's unfamiliar to a lot of people because people are used to spending time with family and friends and going out to the movies and different
Right.
things like that. And even going to work, some people, like some of my staff now, they're working from home, but they want to be in the office. And I have to tell them, like, no, we can't have you guys here, you know. And it's really mentally affecting a lot of people, you
Well, see,
know.
the sad thing is that we're dealing with an unknown. We can't go back
Yeah,
and say, oh, yeah, in 1995 when we had oh yeah, in 87, we've never had anything like this. So we
yeah,
don't really have a process capability to deal with all the underlying issues associated with COVID.
yeah. Wow, that's exactly right. So let's talk a little bit about what are some examples of self-care that people can do.
Well, there's three different or four different. I probably need to learn how to count areas that I want to zero in on. One is
Okay.
your emotional or mental health, physical, and then financial. All these things are important. I've always tried to live a very organized life, but even with that, you're going to be thrown off. So one thing that's really important when I look at emotional care is to listen to your self-talk. I read an
Mhm.
article that said for every a typical person speaks about, except for me, speaks about 400 words per minute. Your self-talk is 4,000 words per minute.
Wow.
So
Wow.
consequently,
Interesting.
it's important for you to listen to your inner voice and what you really are telling yourself. I mean, on the on the outside, I can say, "Oh yeah, I'm confident and whatever." Inside, all that negativity that came from childhood trauma or messaging that you got that was negative. That's, I mean, 400 to 4,000. Your internal verbiage really can be extremely damaging to you. So that's
Yes.
really important.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thing
That's
that I do
interesting.
that really helps me cut through things, and this is a headset that I've employed over the years. When I find myself spinning out about something, and something's going to happen, whether it's a child or a relationship or something like that, I stop and I ask myself, if today was the last day of the rest of my life, would I? And then it's real easy to not spin out. Would I be mad because Jesse hasn't had me on his program for 3 years?
Yeah.
No, it was the
Yeah.
last day of my life. So again, that really for me eliminates a lot of internal pressure.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's you know, and I want to piggyback because I do think, and I'm even thinking about myself, how I do a lot of self-talk internally,
Mhm.
especially in my everyday life, my everyday role with work. And, you know, sometimes I'm faced with challenges from my staff, and I have to remain calm, professional,
Right.
and remain composed. Because a lot of times, sometimes people they don't know how to really, you know, communicate. And I shouldn't say it like that, but sometimes the communication is not what I feel it should be sometimes. And so even with that, I have to still remain professional and calm, and then go back and be like, okay, you know, within myself, just have a self talk, and then go back and be like, okay, you know, they didn't mean it this way or whatever, and just kind of, you know, just keep myself under control and not say anything wrong or that I'm gonna regret.
And
So
sometimes you just have to give people grace and a little
right,
bit of mercy, and just you know what, we're going to have to agree to disagree, and just leave it alone and move.
right. Yes, absolutely. And that's in the case of family members too,
Oh,
family and
absolutely.
friends.
Your family knows where all your little buttons are. And then
Yes.
with your family, you have expectations. If anyone's going to understand me, if anyone's going
Yeah.
to be for me,
Yeah.
be my family. And on occasion, that's just not the case.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You talked a little bit about the financial piece, financial self-care. Talk a little bit about that. How important is that too in our everyday life?
It really is very important. I teach a seminar called Budgeting for the Not So Rich and Famous. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of people think, well, to do financial planning, I need to have $100,000 to give to Ameriprise or to E.F. Hutton or someone. No, you don't. But you
Yeah.
just need to look at how you're spending your money.
Yeah.
And we are a consumer nation. We want to
Yes.
buy. We are a microwave generation in that we don't want to wait for anything. We don't want to save for something. I want it right away, so
Exactly.
I'm gonna charge it. So
Yes,
you
exactly.
end up with credit card bills for
Exactly.
stuff that you don't even have anymore,
Yeah.
bills that you've
Yeah.
already digested and eliminated. So
Yes.
it's really important, and I encourage people. I said, look at your wants and your needs. I mean, I really would like to have, say, a mink coat. Do I need a mink
Yeah.
coat? I mean, you're at
Yeah.
home and COVID in your jogging pants. What do you need a mink coat for? And
Yeah.
that's when you're looking at all of your gadgets. Do I really need to upgrade my? I think I have an iPhone 8, but now there's like a 12. The 8's fine. I mean, why? Just because I can say I have something new with facial
Yeah.
recognition and a whole bunch of cameras and features I still don't.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
really try to look at that kind of financial noise. Something else that I've done, and I've done it over the years, but it's really the same kind of concept. When I was growing up, the banks had something called the Christmas Club Fund, and every week you go down and you save $1 or 50 cents or whatever the amount was. And by the end of the year, I mean, because I'm a really old lady, you maybe have $100 saved or something,
Yeah.
but it was a way to consistently save on a monthly basis. Well, I came across something called the 52-week challenge, and I've done that for several years, and it works beautifully. And what it is, the first week in January, you put in $1. Second week, you put in 2, then 3, then 4. And so you compound the amount of money that you're putting in. So by the time that December 25th comes around, you have almost $1,400 saved that didn't even pinch you. And
Wow.
so that's something that I've done. And I always have money left over because I budget how much
Yeah.
money I'm going to give to the individual grandchildren. And because I can remember one year I ran around all over town looking for a video game that my grandson wanted. Super Mario Brothers, I don't know, goes to the flea market or something. I don't know what it was. But I went everywhere looking for it. And I thought I got it. So at Christmas, I presented it to him. And he said, Mimi, thank you, but it's the wrong video. I said, oh, Lord, I will never do that to myself again. Never. So they know that I give
Yeah.
them green
Yeah.
fits and it's the right size.
Yes.
I give money. It's just a lot easier.
It is definitely a lot easier, 100% a lot easier. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the approach I take, what I'm taking with my mom. I'm actually giving her some money today for
Right.
Christmas because it just, I don't know how to shop for people as much. Some people like Max, they know how to shop for people. They just kind of observe you as a person and they can just, okay, this person like this. Not so much of me. I'd rather give a gift card and money and save myself some time and make it easier for the person. So
Well, yeah, I've done that. I usually study people, and I kind of know what they would like, but it's just for, again, self-care. I ain't running all over town doing that, particularly during
yeah,
COVID. I'm going to be in and out of Nordstrom's, Ross,
yeah,
TJ Maxx. No, I'm
yeah,
not
exactly.
going to do that.
That's
Plus,
exactly right.
if you're my age, hopefully you're at a position where you're giving away stuff. You're getting rid of stuff. My goal is that when I die, my daughter made me promise I'll live to 125, and I've never ever broken a promise to her. So I told her, okay, when I live to be 125,
Yeah,
what a whole bunch of mess that she has to throw out, get rid of. I mean, my one girlfriend was helping her mother-in-law downsize when she decided to move into a skilled nursing area. The woman had 87 decorative empty cookie tins.
wow, wow,
87 of them?
wow.
But no. And so
Yeah,
when it comes to jewelry and stuff like that, I've given away jewelry, nice jewelry that I'm not wearing. When my granddaughter comes down to visit, I said, you want to go shopping? She goes, yep. She'll get a bag and we go into my closet. She starts pulling stuff off the hangers, which is fine, stuff I'm not really wearing.
yeah, good, good. That's smart, very smart. I don't like a lot of stuff.
Right.
I notice when myself, like in the morning, I'm getting ready for work and stuff. I do have a lot of clothes and shoes I like, to look nice and presentable. But then I found myself in the morning. So I have my pants folded up, color coordinated, like the blues and the brown. But it seemed like I could never find what I want. So I just get it, grab and throw it all on the floor on the bed and I just, then now it's a mess. I don't have time to fix it. I got work. So I've been having the same mind frame as you, of just getting rid of some of this stuff. Because the truth of the matter is, I don't wear all of it. I think I just like to have the selection, just in
But
case.
again, the problem with clothes, you got to take care of them. In that,
Yeah.
you've got to wash them. You got to take them to the cleaner.
Yes.
You got to have a closet big enough to deal with them.
Yes.
You've got to deal
Yes.
with them. And it turns out that 80% of the time we wear 20% of our wardrobe.
Yes, exactly right.
You've got a go-to outfit. I mean, I've got jeans, and mostly I do color blocking when I dress, which is like I wear a lot of black and then I'll accent it with a color.
Yeah.
So that way you can extend your wardrobe. But I look around. Another tactic that you can use, and I need to do it, so physician heal thyself, is that every time you wear something, you're supposed to take the hanger and turn it backwards when you hang it up. So you know,
Wow.
you know that you've used that. And you look at your closet and you'll say,
Interesting.
2/3 of my pants I've never ever worn. But that's something to do throughout the year. When you wear it, you turn it backwards and you look and you say, I'm not wearing this stuff.
I am going to use that tactic. Like I'm going to use, I never would have thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can definitely use that, especially when it comes to my suits and sport coats. Because a lot of times, if I'm just wearing, and I wonder when the last time I wore this, and so yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well, and if you buy nice clothes, and I try to buy nice clothes, and I've never been a heavy person, so I don't have a fat wardrobe and a skinny wardrobe. And then the nicer things I have tailored to fit me. So another way that I keep my weight down is that I'm very particular in what I wear. And so consequently, if I have it tailored, I can't gain 5, 10, 15 pounds or whatever. But yeah, and then also we have to look at, as far as clothing is concerned, we live in a far more casual world than we did, say, 10 years ago.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Beautiful business suits. Now, where am I going to wear a business suit? I have been retired for years.
Yeah.
And even when I give my different presentations, I have go-to outfits.
Yeah.
The same outfits that are very comfortable, that present well on camera.
Yeah.
And that, so yeah, we just look around. We just got this, even now, I look around my office, I go, what is this stuff? I'm pretty good, but it's just too much stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what speak on the financial piece in terms of COVID, self-care in terms of COVID, because a lot of businesses is closed currently. A lot of people have been laid off work, and a lot of people have lost their jobs completely in terms of COVID, and it's causing them to be depressed, have a form of anxiety because they don't know how to pay their bills. Some people got mortgage. So people are put in a position not to be able to self-care in that particular category. And talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know what? But they can do self-care. They've got to be able to, they have less, so they have to learn to deal with less. You'll be able to sort again, but I mentioned before, your wants versus your needs. If you look at your overall financial situation, like for instance, I have a rental, and the taxes are due, every year, every 6 months or something like that. Well, every month I have X amount of dollars put into a separate savings account, to pay that particular tax. The same thing that if your car tags, your license, your registration costs like $200 a month or $240 a year, well, then you need to put $20 away in some little savings, something or other. So suddenly when your tags are due, you're not flipped upside down. But unfortunately, a lot of people, because they are hyper consumers, they live from paycheck to paycheck. And what I've told my children, sometimes they listen, sometimes they haven't, it doesn't make any difference how much you make. If you make $100,000 a year, that's good money. It's good money if you're living a $70,000 a year lifestyle.
Yes.
If you make $100,000 and you live a $130,000 lifestyle, you'll never get ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tell my kids, it's not important how much you make. how much of that money do you keep?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I have an older sister. I have two older sisters. One of my sisters, her,
Wait, are you the
and
baby boy?
no, I'm the third. I'm the third. So I got two older sisters, then me. Then I have three younger brothers.
Oh, okay, I thought you might be the
So
baby boy.
yeah, but her and her husband, they are doing well financially. Now her husband has um, this multi-million dollar construction business, and she works for the city. She has her own business. They're doing well, but the problem is the budget. I mean, he's very flamboyant. He likes to take all these trips. He likes to do things. I mean, he does it big, and so sometimes because he's spent so much and not budget his money and things like that, things happen or things come up where I feel like they're not prepared financially. And me and my older sister, we just had a very strong disagreement about 3 days ago because we're helping my other sister. So I have another sister that lives in the state of Ohio. She's got a place or whatever. So I'm furnishing the living room set, the kitchen, and the bedroom. I'm buying all that. And so
Wonderful.
my sister responsibility was only to just buy the TV. So I said, okay, go to Walmart, get the TV, and then you can do it online or at the
Right.
store, and she can pick it up. She did it the way she wanted to do it. She didn't do it that way. So she bought the TV and brought it home. And so now they want me to pay for the shipping. No, I'm not going to pay for the shipping.
No, not at all.
That's your responsibility, not mine. I played my part and what I need to do. And so, but that comes from a lack of taking care of herself financially, because now she's saying, oh, well, we got to pay this bill, that bill, or, things just slowed down with the job, whatever. Yeah, but look at all the poor choices you guys made. You guys been traveling like at least twice a month,
Right.
So
Well,
they're not taking
it's
care of themselves.
contingency planning is important. Financially, contingency planning is like, okay, what if? That's fine, but what if? And you need to have enough funds on hand to deal with the what if, because it's
Yeah,
a rainy day. It's going to rain.
yeah,
It's going to rain, and they say you should have 6 months worth of your expenses. Well, very few people can do that. To have 6 months worth of your expenses in your savings, but you should be able to have at least a couple of months
yeah,
to cover yourself if something happens. Because something's going to happen. The car's
yeah,
going to break down. You're going to need tires. The kids need shoes, and if your kids are growing and they need shoes every 3 months, you need to have a fund set up to the side that, okay, this is, Lordy, this is, I don't know how much kid shoes are. Let's say, I don't know, $50, because you got them on sale at Nordstrom's. $50, and you got 3 kids. It's $150 you need to put away every 3 months for the kids' shoes.
yeah.
And look at how you're using your credit card. You shouldn't have anything, in my opinion, on your credit card that you can't pay off in 3 months.
Yeah,
It just doesn't
wow,
make
nice.
sense. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. What about laughter? What do you think? I talked a little bit about this before. Let's talk about another component of self-care. What about laughter? How can that provide self-care to individuals?
Well, it's interesting. They've done studies about laughter, and what they found out that when you laugh, you release endorphins, and your endorphins are your happy enzymes. So
Yes.
when and this gets back to also what you're feeding yourself visually as far as TV is concerned, because now with
Yes.
us being home more, with us being home more, you're watching more TV, you're reading more, or you whatever. You just really need to be aware of what you're watching and when you're watching. I can
Yes.
remember one time in the evening, I watched the death of McDreamy on Grey's Anatomy. He's a hot guy that's been there for whatever, and
Yeah.
McDreamy died. Then I turned on and watched the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, where
Uh-huh.
everyone gets shot up, beheaded,
Yeah.
whatever. Then I
Yeah.
decided to go to sleep. Guess
Yeah.
what I did all night? I was
What?
awake all night long because
Yes.
all that stuff for me, I'm very childlike. It gets inside of me, and
Yeah.
then I dream about it. So
Yeah.
I try to watch. I'm a big nerd when it comes to romance. I'll watch
Uh-huh.
a romantic thing before I go to bed. And then last night I watched the cutest movie called My Spy, and
Uh-huh.
Is it Amazon or Netflix? I think it's on Amazon. And it's the story of this CIA agent who befriends this little 9-year-old precocious little girl. And it was really laugh out loud funny. So
Yeah.
something like that's good to watch before you go to bed. My daughter, who has a high stress job, and that she likes to watch the Golden Girls or Little House on the Prairie or something like that every night before
Yeah.
she goes to bed.
Yeah.
You have to be aware. That also goes with your music. What kind of
Yes.
music are you listening? Are you listening to hard rock or rap where they're blowing people up and the women are hoes and the men are?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you feeding yourself?
Yes.
Like for me, since I'm such a verbal person, I do best listening to jazz or classical music. Because if there's words for me trigger thoughts, thoughts then
Uh-huh.
trigger actions. So for me, just to chill out, I was raised with classical music or soft rock or Donny Hathaway,
Yeah.
People Bryson, the really kind of soothing balladeers or something like that when I'm
Yeah.
cooking or whatever.
Nice. Nice. So I want to piggyback. You said a whole lot, which is good. So one of the things in terms of TV, because people, I think TV can be, like you said, used in a good way to provide self-care to individuals.
Right.
But also, like you talked about the negative component, one of the things I want to bring up is election. I've seen so many people, I've actually came home and was like, oh my God, like people have, I mean, just Donald Trump naming itself and then an election, all that people, I mean, I saw people being stressed out, mentally affected, anxiety. Like it was just like, oh my God.
Absolutely.
So for myself, I wasn't really watching it like that. I just kind of just turn it on, take a little sneak, cut it back off, and like because I didn't want it to affect me the way that it affected other people. My mom was calling, my sister was calling, everybody was calling, and it was like it's on Facebook. Like people was really being affected mentally by this election.
Right. What I had to do, I'm a Facebooker, and then I'm a bit of a news junkie, but every now and then I go no, and I did a 30-day detox from Facebook.
Yeah.
Great, and
Yeah.
then I didn't watch or read the news for like a couple of weeks because it just was too much. Everything that was going on offended everything that I hold a value.
Yeah.
I can do about it other than get out and to vote and to see
Yeah.
the anger and the racism. I mean, if you're a person of color, you know that this country was founded on racism, and you thought, excuse me, that you had made some kind of progress. And then you find out that 50% of the country choose to follow someone who is a flaming racist. You go like that. As a result, there's friendships I've ended because I just, and to thy own self be true. I mean, I just, if you believe in that, that's not in keeping with my value system. And again, getting back to my mantra, if the day was the last day of the rest of my life, would I be dealing with this person? Would I want that person as a friend? Answer's no.
Yeah.
I roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah. You know, as far as the racism part with Trump, I've had a few friends that I've known for years. And so what I've noticed is on Facebook, like I have one person, for example, and she claimed to be a Christian. And she would post stuff with, like, for example, of like little black kids with their pants hanging down. And then she'll have like somebody, like a little white boy that's younger than them, pointing a finger, like trying to teach them. It was just little stuff like that would get to me. Or she will have like a African-American woman, and then she will have like a white woman, you know, trying to teach the black girl how to straighten her hair because she has dreads. And so it was, but then she was a Trump supporter too, of course. And so I reached out to her, I DM'd her, and you know, then her delivery was a little bit too strong for me, and it started to trigger me, to be honest with you. And then I'm like, okay, I had to block her because it was, you know. Then I had another friend who I was extremely close to, who's in Illinois, and she was more subtle with it, but I was able to pick up on it. And she'll say things when like Trayvon Martin and all them, people getting, killed, and she will put stuff up like, well, if you follow the law, this one happened, and just stuff. And I try to reach out, and I just like, you know what, I can't do it
No,
because they don't
we have
understand.
life
Right.
is life is a smorgasbord. You don't
Yeah.
have to eat at the Swedish station. If you want to have Italian or American food, you move on.
Yeah.
You're not forced to consume that
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
it's been really revealing. I had three close girlfriends, business associates. I mean, we were like sisters, and they
Yeah.
showed their natural behinds. And
Yeah.
I not only did I end the three relationship, I wrote them a letter, included all three of them, and did chapter and verse why they failed me as a friend, and how I no longer choose to be their friend. I'll give you one example. One lady, and we've known each other for, I'm not exaggerating, 40 years maybe, easy. And so we used to go to each other's homes. So we're at one of the homes, and this particular lady, her brother had committed suicide, and we were comforting her. But his girlfriend was this African American woman, and and he had left her money, but was kind of gumming up the estate or whatever, and she's really frustrated. So she says, "Well, I'm sitting there with two other white women," and she goes,
Yeah.
"This black bitch."
Oh,
Wait. You didn't say this
wow.
gold digger. You didn't say this fat, ugly person. You didn't say
Yeah.
this skinny person. So the
Yeah.
first thing you could think of that you could come up with
Yeah.
was black bitch. Now,
Yeah.
something like that doesn't just roll off your tongue. You
Right.
have said that before,
Right.
and you totally were unaware of the fact you're looking at an African American friend when you
Yeah.
said, and the two
Yeah.
other ladies, the friends, said nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So showed her true colors.
Yeah. And that's very prevalent with when we have other friends outside our race. I have Russian Ukrainian friends, and I have a Ukrainian friend I'm really close with. And recently one of my friends was in a hospital, whatever. And so, we're like brothers, we're really close. Now I know his father's side of the family is super race. I already know that,
Right.
he told me about it, so I'm not a stranger to that. But I feel like the father struggles with it, to be honest, which I think he's more racist than not. And so I was going out to the hospital to visit him, and the sister was telling me about this. He was like, well, Jay's going out there. They call me Jay. Jay's going out there, and pretty much he was like, well, he's black. And so the sister was like, okay, Dad, what about that he's black? And so he was like, well, maybe, he's black. Maybe he won't say the right thing. And the sister was like, well, Dad, Jay has a master's degree.
Right.
He know how to, talk. He has a talk show. He's very well spoken. I'm sure he's not going to embarrass, the brother and stuff
Right.
like that. But it wasn't no surprise to me because the brother was my friend. Always kind of tell me things, but I've always treat the family kind with respect and rise above their way of thinking when it comes to African American, especially African American men. But that's just how some people are. They really can't think outside of what they think about us, and that's their issue, not mine.
Right. And then you look at that, and you kind of go, this is not my fish to fry. Well,
Right.
they are, and you have to step over them and move on.
Right. And that's a way that I did my own personal self-care because I had to kind of back a little bit and realize, okay, this is the dynamic, this is what's going on. And my friend is extremely close to his family. I'm close to the sisters and stuff too, and they just recently lost their mom. But certain things I had to take care of myself because
Right.
I know how I can be. I know. So yeah, just to keep the peace and stuff. That was one of the reasons I'm like, okay, I have to step back from the
Yeah,
situation.
why put yourself knowingly in harm's way? I mean, why would you normally do that? I mean,
Right.
life's too short.
Right.
Life's
Exactly.
too short.
Right. That's exactly right. So yeah, that's interesting. So let's talk a little bit. You talked a little bit about the music. Because sometimes music plays and it pulls out our emotions. And I know growing up, I loved music. And even now, and if I'm at the gym or if I'm somewhere in the grocery store and I hear a song come on, that was one of my favorites when I was like in my 20s or teens or whatever. It takes me back to that place, that moment, that person, what I was doing. And so sometimes that can have a good effect, or sometimes it can have a negative effect
Right,
depending on what was going on in your life as well.
right.
So it's good that you brought that up too,
Yeah,
because
because if you're listening to Dionne Warwick, if anyone who had a heart would look at me and know that I love you, and that's what the song was playing when you broke up with the love of your life. But you need
yeah,
to, why are you going to pick at that scab, and
yes,
all the time? So
yes,
you have to be aware of
yes,
self-care is a evolving process. You just don't wake up and
yes,
do self-care. You'd have to look at a situation, you're in a situation, why am I feeling uncomfortable about that?
yeah,
And quite often when you're uncomfortable about a situation, it can be because you're trying to take on a problem that's really not your problem to solve.
that's exactly
And
right.
I see that with my grandkids. And I
Uh-huh.
look at, there's things that are going on that I thought life does not have to be this difficult. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I got to stay.
yeah,
I've learned to stay in my lane because there's
yeah,
nothing to do. And a girl
yes,
as a counselor, she said, well, something like that, it is, while it may be your concern, it's not your problem.
yes,
And
absolutely
so you have to
interesting.
be able to separate that at key times.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna write that down. I like that. I
Yeah, it's
like that actually.
my concern, but it's not my problem. And that's tough if
Um,
you've been placed in a situation where you're the problem solver in the family. If there's a crisis, if there's a financial crisis, I can expect a call or a knock at the door.
yeah, yes, absolutely. That's good. And I think sometimes it's hard for people to I not have this mindset. I think sometimes when other people problem arise, especially if it's a family member, a friend, or a close loved one, we tend to take that on as if it's our problem, but when it's really not. And when a person don't respond to the problem, to their problem, the way that we feel they should be, then it interrupts our self-care
Right.
because now we've threw ourselves and taken it on as if it was our problem, and when it's really not,
Because
you
and you
know.
can't help a person solve a problem if you want the solution more than they do.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
You're gonna write that down too. I'm gonna charge you for these.
I got to. Yeah, I am.
And that
Yeah,
is, you can. I've got a grandson that is not always doing what he needs to do in school, but if he doesn't want to be successful in school, uh, his parents can pound all they want to. It's got to be on him, and the
yeah,
parents then are to assist him in that regard.
yeah, yeah. That's absolutely right. That is 100% correct. I know there are things that went on in my family that I had prayed for years, like oh my God, for years, and I it took on their problems as it was my own. I mean, I trust me, B, I did not handle the situation in a very loving and kind way, the way that I am now, because my love was strong and it should have been a concern, but not my problem. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
And I made it my problem, and I tried to force them to do the right thing or make the right decisions when they really didn't want to. Now, so many years later, yeah. Now, so many years later, now they're doing the right thing, but it had to come when they wanted to make
Right,
the change
right,
and do what's best for
right,
themselves, you
right.
know. And yeah, and I was like, yeah, I really let that impact me in a very negative way. And I think back, like now, I'm like, how stupid was that? Like
Well, I mean, if you're used to being a problem solver and you've got the skills to solve the problem, you've got the resources to solve
yeah,
the problem, but it's like pounding cement. If the person
yeah,
doesn't want to do it, and it's hard
yeah,
to walk away from a loved one. It is I
yes,
had to do that with one of my kids. I mean, it was really really painful, the relationship, and I finally had to give it to God and say, Lord, I've done all I'm going to do, and I'm just not
yeah,
going to take any verbal abuse. I'm not. I'm done.
yes,
And then with
yes,
time, it's come back around. But even with that, part of me kind of goes, okay, you know.
yeah,
I mean, and that's also self care, that you don't
yes,
fully leave yourself open for possible future hurt.
yes, absolutely, 100%. And I'm learning that. Well, I've learned that and continue to learn that. Like you said, self-care is an evolving process, and
Yeah.
I've had to learn that. Because at one point I thought I had all the answers. I got to get money, I got a good job, I got degrees.
Right.
You know, I can fix your life. I'm like Ayala, fix your life. You know, I can do it.
Then you woke
But
up.
no,
Then you woke up.
exactly, exactly. But oh, was I mistaken? Oh, was I mistaken? Folks want to live the way they want to live and do what they want to do. And you just got to be patient and pray for them and be supportive as much as you could and trust God to help them in the process because you can't do anything.
And let them go. You got to let them
Yeah,
go.
right.
Just, if you look at seed, you got to go, boy, you're spinning in one place. You don't have to
Yeah,
be there. But until they have their own realization, you're really wasting your time.
yeah,
And
that's
doesn't mean
exactly right.
it's sensitive. Doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you may not
Yeah,
toss and turn about it at night. But you also know that it's not your fish to fry.
yeah, yeah.
You
One
write
of
that
my
down.
old,
You can write that
oh
down.
yeah, no, I do. No, I got that. I wrote that down too. Believe me, yeah, natural fish to fry. I like that. One of my older sisters, she had a drug addiction for many, many years. Ooh, boy, I was on her and I didn't understand. It was like, you should be in school and blah, blah, blah. And she OD'd about 3 times. And I mean, it just, now I'm in a state of California. So when I went to college, I moved out of my mom's house immediately because the dysfunction and all that. But through the years, like my sister got hooked on drugs and all that. And I'm like, I kept telling her, like, you almost died. When are you gonna learn? And blah, blah, blah. And okay. And then she go back to do the right thing. 3 times she almost died, OD. And I did not understand why she kept doing it. But now she's clean. She's doing okay. This is the sister that I'm referring to how she's doing okay. She's, in the right space now. But it was when she decided, because I wanted it more than she did. I wanted it way more than she did,
Right. Right.
It's just
And
one of
that's
those things
painful.
I
It's
had to
painful.
learn.
It's painful to see that. I mean, you just have to pray and let them go and be
Yeah.
there, be there when they need you, but make sure you're not an enabler.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly. So physical considerations, let's talk a little bit about that, the exercise part of it. So talk a little bit about the exercise self-care, because I think that is a part of our life, in my opinion, that is needed. But I just think people lack motivation or don't know how to go about it, education. I was one of those people that lacked motivation, lacked education, and I just didn't know until I met one of my friends. He was a personal trainer, and I remember him because even in college, you was able to go to the gym, but I was like really intimidated because you had all the athletes in there, the football players and the basketball players. And so I met a guy like years ago, and he's a personal trainer. And he was like, "Man, come to the gym." I was like, psh. So I kind of I kind of didn't go for like 2 months. I'm not going to talk the way I want to talk, but I kind of didn't go for like 2 months. And even though I was telling him I was going to come, and so finally I go up there. He was teaching an aerobics class. That's how I started. And so I kind of watched that. Then he just come on, do a few steps. So I found out I like it. I'm like, okay, I like the physical activities. And then he was like, okay, come lift some weights with me. And I definitely ain't gonna lift no weights because he was like super buff. And I'm little. And so finally he got me to do that. And I've been going strong ever since then.
Well, it's important. It really is important. Again, like I mentioned before, endorphins are your happy enzymes. They're happy
Yeah.
enzymes. And I belong to 24-hour fitness, and I do have a personal trainer. And even though they're closed, I go to his garage twice a week.
Yeah.
And I still work out with him twice a week. But 24-hour fitness has a great YouTube video, and I would encourage all of your viewers to go on and look at it. And what it is, it's called 23 and a half hours. And it goes through and it talks about, regardless of how busy you are, you got a half hour to exercise.
Yeah.
And they give different examples and also what it does for your body. And sadly enough, a lot of the issues that impacts the Black community, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, things of that sort, all of that can be positively impacted by exercise. I mean, you don't have to run a marathon or something like that, but walk, jump rope, do whatever you're going to do, but do it consistently. The thing that's kept me fairly sane during this time, I live out in an area where they've got walking trails. It's really lovely. And I have a girlfriend of mine that's, we become really close friends. We're in book club together. Well, we walk almost every day, except the weekends. We
Nice.
walk every day, walk down to the river or walk on the side roads or whatever. On Mondays, our tradition is we walk over to Bel Air's town center and
Yeah.
get a Starbucks. I'm not even a coffee person, I've become one. A Starbucks, sit out in the sun and talk for about a half hour, 40 minutes, and then go on with our walk. But if I wasn't working out, because for
Yeah.
2 weeks, if I wasn't walking, she's someone that I see on a regular basis. I don't see
Yeah.
the rest of my family on a regular basis. My son lives
Yeah.
in town. His ex-wife, who I'm really close to, lives in town. I have 3 grandsons who have busy lives, but because they have busy lives, they're out and about. And if you're out and about and you've got a grandmother that is in a protected class, you can't
Yeah.
just keep running back and forth. I don't care how many masks you have. So
That's
I don't
right.
see them as much, or we would do
Yeah.
things if the weather was nice out on my patio or on her patio or whatever. But if I didn't walk every day, I don't know what I've been
Yeah.
doing. When I don't walk, I find myself a little sluggish,
That's exactly right.
a little depressed. If you
Yes.
walk there,
Yes.
come back, you're energized. Okay, let me get
Yeah.
here all this stuff in my office, or let me do whatever, or whatever. But it really is important to find some kind of exercise and to do it.
That's one thing I can definitely speak on for personal experience. Exercise definitely affects my mental health, 100%. There's no question about it. There was a period when I wasn't going to the gym, and like you said, I was sluggish. Oh, I mean, I was like, and I had gained some weight, so now I'm starting to lose it back, which is
Right,
good. But I was like, I was winded, like I wasn't. I've always been like a very confident person.
right.
I found myself inwardly, people didn't know it, but inwardly, I found myself not as confident. And I'm just like, what is this? So I
Well,
would
you
pray, I
felt
would
like a
pray.
slug because you were a slug.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. I'm eating everything, because at first I wasn't drinking like I drink a lot of water now, of course, but back then I was just drinking a lot of juice and Arizona juice and just stuff with a lot of sugar,
Right, right.
and I was enjoying it. And I would sit up here and watch Netflix and making excuses, and I'm like, no, like you have to. So I realized, like, I have to pray to God, like, Lord, give me strength and motivation to get on the right track. So I noticed with myself though, when I would go and work out one time, that's a jump for me. And so and so that's how I start. I just have to get in there. And once I get in there, that's it. That's
It's
it.
interesting because my trainer had moved my, when I started working out in the garage, had moved my training to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, mainly
Yeah.
because to 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because he had a lot of clients. And anything after that, his garage was too warm. But then I found that for me to wait to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not what I've been doing for, I don't know, I've been working out for 30 years, 40 years, and that I have to have my workout in the morning. It
Me
jumpstarts my
too.
day.
Me
It,
too.
it makes me, there's no way I'm going to work out at the gym or walk and come home and eat 4 donuts.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just not going to do that. And
Yeah.
particularly with COVID, they call it the quarantine 15. People are gaining weight. The
Yeah.
quarantine. I eat more junk than I
Yeah.
did before. A lot more sweets, and
Yeah.
I bake like I'm a crazy one. For
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I baked 10 sweet potato pies
Wow.
and an apple pie. And
Yeah.
then the cookies started. And I will
Yeah.
eat some of them. But again, I really watch what I eat, and I don't eat in volume, because then that
Yeah.
becomes a sickle. If I gain too much weight, then I feel like
Yeah.
a bum. Since I feel like a bum, that I don't want to
Yeah.
work out because I'm not working out, I may as well
Yeah.
eat. It becomes a cyclical nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, we definitely have some similarities there as well. Because I cannot, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I have a place to work out, and I have to go. I'm there at the place, the location, at least by 4 in the morning. At least I try to get there at 4, sometimes 3, but it has to be before. For me, it has to be before work, because my work is so mentally
Right,
draining sometimes that when I come home, I just need to relax.
right,
And so that helps me. And some days I have a treadmill upstairs. And so some days I'll come home and I just walk on the treadmill and get on the phone and put on my headphones or whatever.
right.
But far as the physical, the weightless, I have to do it before work. That sets the tone for me.
Well, the
Yeah.
other thing, being older, one of the problems as you get older is your balance. And my
Mm.
trainer was saying a lot of people that fall, they fall because their reaction time has slowed down. So you can't put your foot down to brace yourself or whatever. And then on one of my episodes I did on fall prevention, I had a physical therapist on there, and he was telling me, and then my chiropractor confirmed it, that 65% of the women that are over, I don't know, 65 or something like that, that break a hip, they die. I said,
Wow.
from the, no, not from the fall, from the fact that they lack upper body strength. They can't turn themselves in the bed. They develop pneumonia.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and so my trainer does a lot of balance exercises.
Yeah.
I know on more than one occasion, honest to God, I was out walking with my girlfriend, and the walking path was uneven. I went to step up. We looked at a rock, went to step up, and I started to fall. And I mean, I probably got down a 45-degree angle, but I
Yeah.
was able to right myself,
Yeah.
stand back up, and that's nothing but training.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I definitely agree with you on that. That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, B, we've run out of time. You see how quick an hour goes? And
Yes,
this is why I told you I want to do a part two, because I knew this was going to be good. And I knew it was going to ask a lot of follow-up questions. So we haven't even got through all the material. So we're going to definitely do a part two to this
good.
particular show. So thank you once again for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts and giving us tips on how to stay well and how to take care of ourselves with self-care. And so we will definitely resume this next
Good.
month following the show.
Well, thank you for the
And
opportunity. I really enjoyed being on your show.
yes, and I always enjoy having you on, even though it's your like second time, but you're just we connect. We
Right,
that energy,
right.
and I appreciate that. So that's it for today's
Okay.
edition of Mental Health Matters. If you like this particular show, if you would like a DVD copy of the show, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.